Before we get started with the show, I'd like to thank our sponsors. Our first sponsor is Atmos Planning, financial planners turning visionaries into meaningful millionaires. Our second sponsor of the day is Planet Duct. Reach out to them for any of your air duct cleaning needs. Now, let's get on with the show. Welcome back to the COS Business Podcast, the #1 podcast in Colorado Springs. My name is Andrew Hasley, and I'm the host of the show. Today, I have on Drew Robertson with Mattersville. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do and what your business is?
Sure. Primarily, our main focus is working with veterans and getting them housing for whatever housing needs they have while they work through our programs which involve overcoming PTSD, typically which they acquire through their service in the military. Okay, and you have an element to what you do as well, right? Right. Yeah, there was a lot of elements to what we do, but one of the coolest things, one of our most popular programs is our Heroes and Hybrids program, which involves our wolf dog rescue, where we have 2 different rescues now. One here in Colorado, where we have 18 wolf dogs, a lot of which we got from the Rocky Mountain Wildlife Foundation when the owner was becoming ill and needed to go a separate way so that he can focus on his own self-care. We had the opportunity to, with our property and our situation with the veterans we're working with, to be able to merge the 2 programs into one. And we've done such great work with these animals and the veterans that we've literally, rehabbed all these wolf dogs, or brought all these wolf dogs to the point where they're emotional support animals for the veterans. But not only that, the visitors, bringing in visitors that are really out there struggling, suffering. A lot of them just don't know where to turn. There's so many stigmas out there that they are reluctant to put themselves out there on the spot and let people think that they're crazy or whatever else, when really they're just going through some kind of mental health crisis, and they need a place to decompress. And once they come and let their guard down with these animals a little bit and open themselves up, you kind of see all that start to pour out of them. Really they just start they start letting it go, knowing that they're in a safe place of other people that understand that this is just mental health, that this is something that they're going through, and and then we get to help them fight it. We get to help them, push past the stigmas and all the other things that that make them feel that way. And again, sometimes just that decompression starts to bring them out of out of this darkness that they've put themselves and they surround themselves in, because they don't want to be a burden. On other people, their families, their friends. They tend to feel burdened by, I don't want them to have to deal with my PTSD or my trauma and things like that. So they push and distance. They start pushing people out of their lives that are important to them. And, oftentimes that leads down a really, really dark road,
sure.
If it's not addressed.
Yeah, so. It sounds like it's something that you're really passionate about. Yeah. Do you want to introduce your friend here? He's been wanting to introduce.
This is Randog. He's one of my personal pets. He is a registered emotional support wolf dog.
Okay.
He was our first rescue, actually, outside of the ones from the Rocky Mountain Wildlife Foundation. He was set for euthanasia in Oklahoma City. And once we kind of started taking care of him, he just kind of clung to me, to the point where, I can't even walk away without him going crazy. I'm like his emotional support human.
For sure.
But when we rescued him, he didn't have a name. He just had this number. He was found on the side of the road by, Animal Services in Oklahoma. And, when we realized how well trained he was, housebroken, everything else, we were like, well, I was just like, I think I'm keeping this one. This guy's gonna be my guy, because again, he doesn't like the separation, and I prefer him going with me anyways. But what's really cool is he's so good with everybody else and other animals that I can literally take him anywhere, and he kind of is really good at picking out who needs some support, some kind of animal support.
Well, hey.
Like, he's looking at you right now. He's like,
that's a thumbnail shot right there.
That is a thumbnail shot right there.
Nice.
But he knows we're talking. Again, he knows we're talking about work, and he knows that we're talking about him. Anytime I say Randog, he's pretty on his toes.
As soon as we started recording, he started getting emotional.
Yeah, well, it's the focus is not on him. Sometimes that's what he wants as well. But again, getting out there and he kind of has his own personality. He's Randog the Wise on TikTok on our
okay.
Yeah.
So at Randog the Wise, you can find him and follow him.
So at Pack 22 Alpha.
Okay.
But Randog the Wise has his own segments on on our TikTok page where again he's always just giving these motivational quotes. We add these sound bites to his videos because he's always standing around or laying around doing something majestic somewhere on our mountainside, and it's just like so it's never. We always get such good footage of him that it was just like, well, why not take Randog and give him some personality and let him get out there and even when he can't be with people directly, still offer some kind of healing advice and letting people know like, hey, even though you can't be here, we still hear you, we still see you, we know you're out there struggling today, but just remember we're here when you guys are ready, and if you need us, call because again, just knowing that sometimes just knowing that support is there is what people need. It's like, well, I don't need it, but damn, do I feel good knowing that somebody's out there and has my back.
It's kind of like money.
Right. Yeah, it is. Well, time and volunteering and love and compassion, that's currency, man. That is currency.
Yeah. It's exactly what currency derives its value from, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get roll the intro music, and then we'll just dive right into more about your business and how that journey has been.
Awesome.
This is a show where we have real conversations with entrepreneurs and business owners who are mostly in Colorado Springs, doing things in the community of Colorado Springs. You couldn't hear that, could you? Oh yeah. Do you want to introduce Dylan?
Yeah.
Dylan. Okay. Yeah. We'll go ahead and introduce. You brought Dylan. He's. I'll let you introduce him.
Yeah, Dylan Murray. He's our one of our veteran participants, but also now our volunteer coordinator. He's one of the guys that came into the program that was a perfect fit for where he was at his point in life. Ready to just overcome anything that we've thrown in front of him. We have, we put all kinds of work out there in front of him, responsibilities. Taking care of the animals. Just learning how to take care of a wolf pack.
For sure,
it's not something you just learn in one night, but insane challenges, and he always steps up to the plate, and we made him our volunteer coordinator just because it only fits, somebody that's out there, doing the work and setting the example. It's like, why not move him up in the organization as well? Because ultimately, the hope is that we have veterans running the program knowing exactly how to serve our veterans the best. Empathy is a strong factor in this as well. And this guy's got loads of it.
Yeah. And actually, we'll actually go through your business journey, and then after we go through that, we'll have Dylan introduce himself and cool. Talk about a little bit about what he does.
Sure.
So if you're watching this, stay tuned.
Definitely.
All right, got to keep him engaged.
Right. Absolutely.
All right. So how did you stumble upon this? Why starting this?
Well, back in 2013, one of my best friends from our group of good friends that we all grew up with each other. We all were dating our first girls and this, that, and the other. We all did all that together, and we were real close. And we watched our really good friend Randy Hansen. He went off to the Marine Corps. We all drove him to the airport the morning. We went to Camp Lejeune and started his training, and came back and was all excited to get deployed, and got deployed. And then once he was sent over, overseas to, both Iraq and Afghanistan on his different deployments, he was involved in, stuff with Baghdad, Fallujah, all these initial, takedown areas, big areas that were, hot spots. I mean, it was horrible. Some of the stuff that happened over there. I think everybody knows that. And just every time he returned for, his small leaves, he was just always different, just kind of, you could tell he was just bottling a lot of stuff up, but we didn't know a lot about PTSD back then. We didn't know anything. I mean, I knew nothing about it. It was, I was still back home doing what it, chasing girls and everything else.
Yeah.
Right. Like, when he finally returned, when he was finally discharged, he really just kind of started slipping in a way that, this lack of ability to process. Then the lack of being around his brothers anymore, being active duty, because, while you're there, you don't, the work is the decompression, right? Because it's just constant more work, constant more orders. But again, he was home. He just kind of started to stumble, was trying to find his place. And, but you could tell the trauma of everything that he went through was just tearing him up inside. And, with us, his civilian friends and everything else, he just wasn't getting the decompression that he needed, to cope. And so then, like many others, he started looking to things like alcohol as an easy outlet for a coping skill, which that got, out of control as well. And the further that spiraled, the further his mental health spiraled. And then in, late 2013, we lost him to PTSD suicide after he had moved back to Florida to just kind of another start over. He came here to start over, went there to start over, and but he was never finding happiness because it was what was going on internally that was the problem. And it had nothing to do, little to nothing to do with location, because he was the kind of guy that could have a great time in front of people when he was ready, when he was in that positive state of mind. But it was keeping him there that was difficult. But so we lost him in 2013. I was trying so hard to figure out some kind of way to, figure out how I could have saved him. It was regret. It was, just hindsight, right? Like we sit there and look at everything we could have done after it's too late. And, that's what this program was written on. It was literally written on hindsight and sort of our old failures, if you will, and acknowledging them and saying, I've got to recognize this mental health crisis. I've got to recognize that, that there's so many people out there struggling just like this, so that we can start, bringing awareness to that fact. But not only that, activity and action, because there are so many people out there that veteran organizations and animal organizations and all that do a whole lot of talking, and it's almost like they want to do the policing of what they deem a worthy portion of the cause. And those, they rarely get out there and do the work. And, just like Dylan and Randy Silber, one of our COO, which is another veteran participant, just like those guys, I mean, they came in and made it happen, not only because it was something that they needed, but they knew that they're helping the person behind them. And, again, when you talk about the empathy factor, so often will our heroes, especially the ones that are struggling the most, think first about everybody else other than themselves. But what's cool is when you make a network of everybody trying to do everything for each other, and you put them around each other with the same empathy factor and the same drive and common purpose of wanting to help other people, everybody ends up rising from that. Everybody ends up benefiting from that. And that's the system that we're in right now. Again, like, Dylan and Randy and Will, three of the veterans we're housing right now, they're all next in line for their tiny home, which is their permanent housing plan, partially which they're saving for, partially which we're going to do the labor and the build and come up with whatever other donated supplies we can. But we're going to build those houses for them so that those veterans never have to worry about housing again. So that sustainable tiny house or home, whatever they end up, saving for, or whatever we end up being able to produce for them, it's theirs for life. Like, no more bills. We put solar on it, like I'm going to do, which again, we do try and do everything sustainably. And, cutting out the recurring monthly cost of the energy bill. These our veterans could literally live with a cell phone bill
efficiently,
growing their own food, learning how to build and rebuild and create, coming up with a hobby that literally becomes your job.
Yeah. So when you say you say you refer to it as you wrote a program, what does that mean? What is that means that you have like multiple steps and facets of what you do?
Yeah, so I like to think of it more of as opposed to steps. I like to think of it kind of like a formula.
Okay.
Making having sustainable energy, having sustainable food sourcing, like a greenhouse that we're installing really soon, 22-foot dome greenhouse by Growing Spaces. Like this thing's phenomenal.
What's the main goal of the program?
Positive mental health and a full life of sustainability. When you take the fear of losing your home out of the equation, somebody owns their home or everything, all that's taken care of. You've already eliminated, half of somebody's anxiety in life.
Yeah,
the roof over
for
their
sure.
head, right? So, as you start to attack those things, and then again, like learning to grow your own food. What kind of produce do you like? Well, let's start growing it. Let's learn how to grow it. Let's learn when we should grow it. All that stuff. Now you're not paying for produce either. Raising animals, chickens, eggs, the whole sustainable gig is extremely accomplishable. And again, what happens when you have no bills and you're still living like a king? You still have everything that everybody else has.
Yeah.
The same, except it's healthy nutrition grown from a source that you don't have to worry about all those things. But when you create a network, again, of multiple communities, say we have a community in Wisconsin, one in Texas, one in Idaho. We're growing potatoes over in Idaho. We get cheese from Wisconsin.
Wow.
So
okay.
you create this network of full sustainability for our program. So our program, when you talk about multifaceted, it's multifaceted to the point where growth is exponential. As long as there's a need for all those different things. We're even adding equine therapy into our Texas property and our Wisconsin property. Horses, extremely therapeutic as well. Not everybody's a dog person, so we're going to have veterans that may benefit more from working with the horses than they do from working with dogs. Maybe they're not animal people at all.
Yeah.
Maybe they're more into the work, the building, learning new trade skills, learning solar, learning construction. Whatever they do and whatever their participation is, they're gonna, and whenever they leave, they're gonna leave more skilled than they were when they arrived. And not only that, it's gonna be life skills. Not something that they need for war. Something that they need for them, for self-care, for self-love, so that they are doing the things that they care about rather than what they're ordered to do. And it's a real big shift. And they struggle. Sometimes our veterans, especially the ones that served for a long time, they struggle the most at kind of letting go of the taking orders and living for themselves. And that's part of the mental health challenges that they're overcoming, is learning to live for them instead of learning to live for, for whatever orders passed down next. So.
And you guys have built a business that specializes in helping solve those specific problems for people who struggle with this.
Right. Yeah. And, there's different ways that the veterans or others that are suffering from trauma can get involved. The housing program we only house for veterans right now because there's such a substantial need. It's not that we don't want to be able to house other people that are going through trauma in the same fashion as our veterans. It's just that there's too many veterans right now to where we don't want to water down.
And it's also the foundation of your business too.
Right.
So it makes perfect sense, I think.
Yeah. Well, and our heroes, they've already done the sacrifice. They've already risked all, and we feel like that's the best place to start with this for sure. Again, it's PTSD is prominent in the military and veteran community, and numbers wise, it's going to get worse before it gets better.
For sure. Yeah. So let's go back to when you first started this. What did that look like? Was it just you? How did that, like the first couple months, let's just say, maybe a story from there.
Sure. The first few months were actually pretty intense. We put out the plan and the community just kind of started responding. We set up a little community event. The news showed up, and they're just like, I want to house veterans and, overcoming PTSD. And I was just like, wow, that's, people really like the plan. For the first time, I'm like, okay, this is...
Well, you had a purpose.
Yeah.
And people attached to purpose.
Yep. So, and this is before wolf dogs or anything else either. It was just people coming out because they know it's right. It's time to start helping our veterans. So, the next step is like, okay, well, what else do we need? Well, we need to figure out tiny home partnerships, this, that, and the other. And we had been putting it out there that was our intentions. And, then we ended up getting, approached by different people in the tiny house industry. It's how I met Marcus Alvarado with People's Tiny House Festival.
Yeah, Marcus over here on the ones and twos.
On the ones and twos. Yes, sir. Marcus, had a very similar story to mine. His best friend, Paul Wedgwood, was lost to us in 2016. He was 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, and was very, very dear to him, and not only to Marcus, but to Paul's family and Paul's mother in particular. We've gotten to know, and his brother, and they've been out to Mattersville and stuff like that. But not only that, Paul's service dog, even Gus Wedgwood, as we call him around the property. He lives with us at Mattersville. PTSD service dog that turns around and now is still serving our veterans that live within the community. But I met Marcus to reel myself back in real quick. He was telling me about the People's Tiny House Festival, and I was just like, yeah, amazing. He was talking about speaking and stuff like that. Wasn't exactly a speaker yet myself. Was because I can go on for days.
I was about to say you're pretty good at speaking.
Yeah, well, I got a lot to say for sure. It's just about that right setting, right? Like this is a great setting to just get me unloading. But But Marcus had reached out, and he came to meet up with us at a Colorado home show, Colorado Springs home show, and I almost missed him too, which sucked. I walked away, and then he was kind of around the corner, and I caught up with him, and I was just like, hey, nice to meet you, and we kind of started talking about our stories, right? And I talked about Randy Hansen, and how we lost him, and he started telling me about how they lost Paul, and it was almost like identical stories, different timelines, different human beings, different lives altogether. But it felt one and the same, and we kind of had this moment, at the home show, and hugged it out a little bit, and was just like, all right, he wanted to help. He was like, anything that we can do at our tiny house festival to get you in front of people, to let everybody know how important this mission is, let's do it. And he did that. He put us on the forefront. Got to speak on a panel with the tiny home guru Zach Giffen from Tiny House Nation, Operation Tiny Home. Gabrielle introduced me to her. Again, like I will shamelessly plug those people all day, every day, because they've been fighting the tiny home side of the fight for veterans for a long time, and they're kind of on the forefront of that movement, that part of the movement, and we're so fortunate to have made partnerships like that through Marcus that, really was just like, we got to bring, these groups together. And Marcus was kind of that facet, that piece in the middle that was just like, okay, wait, they want to build tiny homes. They need tiny homes for veterans. They build tiny homes for veterans, and marketing, you got Zach Giffen, like the best to get involved. Like it's also cool. So after we kind of spoke there, it was like a week after the last festival. Was
this in the beginning?
Yeah, this is kind of after we wrote the programs and stuff like that. But so just after the festival ended up going by, we kind of came across the first property through a friend, and it was a dump. It was literally 7-acre property just demolished by squatters over 6 years. And I'm talking about squatters that were using all kind of poor mathematics to build the stuff that they were doing. Little hovels everywhere of just, and the county hated it. We hated it. We wanted to, the property owner hated it, but couldn't fix the situation from Florida, and couldn't really reclaim his property with how bad it already was.
Where was this at?
In Sedalia, Colorado.
Okay.
It's Douglas County. It was right off of Highway 67. We're kind of tucked into the mountains, right around some national forest land and stuff, and beautiful property. But it was covered with, tons of trash, construction trash, just, it was a bunch of salvage stuff basically that the owner had owned. And then when the squatters got to it, over 6 years, it just ended up everywhere. Plants were dying. Everything was just rotten out there, from the materials and everything else. And so our first volunteer effort was like, okay, well, if we're going to make this property a home for veterans, first thing is clean up. So over the last year, we had removed over 300,000 pounds of construction waste from the property. And just as we're getting the first area clean, which is the housing area, the house where we rebuilt the 3-bedroom house, we got everything back up to, livable standards. And, right as that happened, then it was the Rocky Mountain Wildlife Foundation needed to close. And that there's like, okay, so you already got this big old mess.
Why did they need to close?
The owner became ill. The founder, Mark Johnson, amazing guy, took care of the animals for 24 years. He got ill, and his doctor was basically ordering him to a lower altitude, warmer climate, and now he's gonna spend out his days in Nevada, where he moved to.
And he maintained everything.
Largely by himself, but with a handful of volunteers as well, dedicated volunteers that he had there, and a lot of them are with us now.
Nice.
A lot of them are part of our PAC 22 team, and continue on. They were essential to our transition from over there to over here, because we had to keep watching some of the animals over there while we built pens over here. We had to clear thousands of pounds of trash anywhere that we wanted to build a new wolf enclosure. And not only that, then we had to take down all the fencing and relocate it from over there to over here. And
that sounds like a lot of work.
Everything was salvaged. The big thing is again, when we talk about sustainability, we will repurpose anything that's repurposable.
Nice. Okay.
We don't like to waste anything. A lot of the things that we find and rebuild and stuff like that are either donated or found, or somebody just kind of looks at something and says that's a project.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
It really is. We're a bunch of mad scientists doing. We're like we're talking about Texas right now, our Texas property, and we're like, why don't we have a tree house yet?
Yeah,
with a zip line, that goes right over a wolf pen or something.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe connect tree houses.
See. He's trying to move in.
Yeah. For sure, man. So let's so how does this business make its money? Let's talk about the business side.
Sure. We offer when we offer tours and when and residency and things like that, we don't ask for any money. We've literally survived on donations from the public, from people that are like, I just want to support this, and here's $5, $10, $20. We've got a few regular donors and stuff, a couple businesses, First Nation group. My God, I love them. They're a medical supply company for the VA. They're sponsoring our video game tournament, which is intended to raise money, which, we have college.
So is it a nonprofit?
Yeah, we're 100% 501c3 nonprofit.
Nice.
Yeah. So, so again, largely on donations, but we when we were offering our tours, when we're offering our wolf dog tours, people typically donate. We don't demand donations. We actually like to offer them free to anybody that needs a healing experience and needs that kind of decompression time with the animals. And we'll take them around, and they go inside with the animals, with the wolf dogs and stuff like that. And they get to pet them. They get to relax, just kind of bond with them a little bit. And by the time they leave, almost everybody leaves a donation. But again, we don't want to exclude anybody that can't afford it at the time. They might circle back and pop in a donation later. Maybe they already did. And we don't really look at that. We set up a private tour, for people to have the experience, and the money comes as money's needed. And if we're out asking for money, if we're putting stuff on social media and stuff, it means we need it right then. It means that we've
you're given so much that you don't need to ask in a lot of ways, I think.
Sometimes that does happen. Sometimes we do have to ask.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
If people don't know that you need it, they assume you're okay. I think
exactly.
A lot of people think because we do all the stuff that we do that we're rolling in money. We are always right on the border of broke. When I donate, like right now, I don't have enough for all of the fencing to rebuild all of the enclosures in Texas yet, or to start on another property or gas money or all these different things.
And that starts with asking.
That starts with asking. If you don't ask, the answer is going to be no.
Yeah.
Or nobody knows that the need is there. But we're pretty much always asking. Though,
I get you.
Yeah, so.
But you're giving too. You're always giving as well. Yep. So it's an ebb and flow.
It goes right back out. It goes to either the animal care or to the veteran, quality of life.
Okay, sweet. So, any other big challenges that you've had growing this, or challenges that you're currently having that you'd be open to discuss about?
Yeah. With the county right now, we've been having a lot of back and forth with an individual within the county. He's seemed pretty hell-bent on creating issues where there is none, particularly in his department, because, the funny thing is like I said, there was 300,000 pounds of waste on this property prior to us getting there. He didn't start harassing us or this property until we were there cleaning it up. It almost seems strange to me that, like, you let squatters live on this property with, a dozen pit bulls that they were illegally fighting as well, from what we ended up discovering later. And we come in and start cleaning it up, build, appropriate pens, get the state license, go through all the other bureaucratic steps to make sure that we're doing things right. And then this one zoning guy, this one dude, I'm not going to say who he is, but he knows who he is. He goes out of his way to create challenges. And, we've reached out to a couple county commissioners, which we've invited out to the property, because again, we want them to see for themselves, like what was there, what's there now, the benefits of it. The fact that the zoning official seems to be going so far out of his way for, trying to create issues for a mental health nonprofit. Yeah. At a time that we have like only a few cities over, people shooting up grocery stores that had clear mental health issues.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. But most of all, it's like, well, where were you in the last 6 years when, again, when the squatters were destroying the property and creating this mess? You seem to have, no attention to the property. You were just letting it go. It was happening. Yeah. They were destroying the place. And,
you make a good case.
It's all documented. I mean, I was like, there's literally a documentary about the cleanup efforts, and it makes me wonder if the guy's ever taken the 11 minutes that it is to watch it and to see, what he's trying to interfere with. Because at the end of the day, he wanted the trash gone. We wanted the trash gone. He wanted, he wanted property cleanup. We wanted property cleanup. He wanted it up to code. We wanted it up to code. And we were doing that. But he seemed to think that it was absolutely necessary that he interferes at every step to do things. And now the building departments and, from the county, and for some reason, whenever we get an inspection,
maybe he's just bored.
It's always, he has to be, because again, this is how far out of his way he goes. How come it's the chief building inspector that comes and does our inspection way out in the middle of the mountains? Like, clearly he could have sent anybody, but they send the chief building inspector through the entire county, who probably makes a lot more money than any of us, and it's like, no, he needs to come inspect that, because why? And when we had the electrical inspection, it's the chief electrical inspector, not one of the electrical inspectors.
Did you ask them why?
Oh, I know why.
Okay.
I mean, it's because the zoning official has some kind of issue. Like, I don't know if he doesn't like veterans. I don't know if he has something against animals. Like, maybe the guy's got some kind of childhood fear. I have no idea what entices a person to try and interfere with a mental health program that's going to do not only good for the veterans that we serve, but the community, people that could come on these private tours that literally will save some lives. And it has saved lives. That's what's, I think, it's almost disgusting. And I'm trying to figure out who, whether it's him or somebody from up above him, and their position, and however that
maybe it's some misunderstanding. Like, I don't know.
I have no idea. We try and lead with our best foot forward. Again, I'm not going to sit here and dox the guy on but it seems that he in particular has a personal bone to pick with something that has to do with this. And it's again, it's one of the things that again, we document everything, and we've had to hire attorneys. We've had to sit here, again, why donations are so needed. We spend just as much as attorneys on attorney fees at a discount, because we have great attorneys. But we spend all this money literally, just pushing back against the zoning officials' overreach, to sit here and have to waste all this energy with what we bring to the table for the county. Blows my mind. It's like, get out of the way. There are lives to save right now. 22 a day are taking their lives. If you want to break it down, Douglas County, I'll break it down. 22 a day, that's 1,080 per year. That's, since 2013, that's the entire population of Castle Rock. Since my friend took his life, I mean, you sit there and break down the numbers, and again, it'll infuriate anybody that's paying attention. The fact that again, somebody wants to speculate. I guess the other thing is the weird things that he's written up. He speculates all this stuff, says that we're renting out camping spaces and we're doing this and doing that. It's like, none of that ever happened. Where are you getting your information from, and why are you sending me warnings? to where, you're sitting there saying that we have to shut off certain operations that we weren't even doing. Again, it's like, what's this weird bone that you have to pick with us? So again, even as we get the place closer and closer to compliance on a county level, fixing the destruction of the squatters, seems like the more and more he pushes back about, our programs. It's almost like, now that you're done cleaning it all up, here, we're going to try and shut you down. And now that, you fixed my failures of the last 6 years of my position for that property, let's maybe that's it. Maybe he wanted to come in and try and fix that property, or maybe had some plans to waste, a couple $1 million of the county's money for, some out in the woods operation. But instead we took care of it. We did it because it was the right thing to do. And the purpose that it would serve later being helping veterans and some of these animals that are also helping veterans.
Yeah.
All federally, certified, emotional support animals as well. Which, I'm not even sure, but from what I understood on a legal level, at some point, you weren't even allowed to try and pull away animals that were certified emotional support animals. I don't, again, it's something to look at now that I think about it, but
for sure,
again, that's the route that
it doesn't seem like it's a problem you should be having to face, and it is.
It's crazy.
And you are facing it.
It's crazy. Well, it's the community that loses. There's people reaching out to us. Anytime I post anything on social media, on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram. When can I come out and take a tour? I need, my husband could really, really use this. Hey, I'm sorry, there's this zoning guy, and he's like, no, he said that, we're not allowed to do this because we have to have 9 acres to be able to do this, and we only have 7. Oh, well, now we have 2 more acres being donated. Well, the rezoning can't be done before it's time for you to have to move some animals, so you should move the animals off the property until we rezone and replot. What? And just to what? So that we can get it all done, and then once we have permission, move them back. Well, we already have the land transfer going on. We already have all these other steps going on. We have an attorney that can sit there and articulate that. But again, there's this strange, I have to push back. I have to push back from this one individual. Everybody else has come out and said, anybody that saw the property before we were on there, from the county and otherwise, that's been back since we've put in our work, has praised our efforts, have praised what this property's become. Sure. And, again, he's just kind of the odd man out at this point. And some of the other county officials even vocalized that, it's weird that he's so interested in almost like challenging us, to stop what we're doing, as if it's, I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. I get it. Well, we want to go ahead and introduce Dylan and talk about what he does at the,
sure.
What do you call it? A sanctuary ranch?
The rescue,
rescue?
So,
okay.
Well, it's, again, it's a property, okay. I mostly just call it the property.
Okay. At the property. Yeah. So what do you do at the property? Let's bring Dylan on.
Yeah. He's a volunteer
Switch
coordinator
out the headphones
and
a volunteer coordinator and a badass, Dylan.
He's a volunteer coordinator. Badass.
Oh, I got you. Oh, yeah. All right, so Dylan, you want to introduce yourself a little bit and talk about what you do at the property?
Yeah, no, I got you. So I'm Dylan Murray. I was an Army vet for 6 years, and at Mattersville, I am the volunteer coordinator. So slash HR.
Oh, let's get this microphone up into you.
A little bit closer. There we go.
Yeah.
So volunteer coordinating. Anyone that would like to basically come in, join, or hang out at the property, volunteer essentially, I'm the guy they talk to.
Okay.
Just layman's terms, real easy. That's all it is.
Okay. What does volunteering look like?
So volunteering, depending on what you want to do, let's say if you can dedicate, or it depends on how much you can dedicate. If you can dedicate 1 day out of every week, we can get you on, let's say, like a wolf handler's position, and then we can actually, you are more involved with the animals. But if you can't, any amount of volunteering is, welcome. If you can volunteer like 1 day out of the month, for like, let's say a big project, we're rebuilding a pen. Awesome. Come on out. Just 1 day. That's all we need. But yeah, that's it. I kind of just coordinate all that. Like this guy's coming in this day. We have a project for this. What volunteers can help? Who can help us out? How
do you go and find volunteers as well?
So when we have a lot of our get-togethers, like Wolf Dog Wednesday, they actually come up and they're like, oh, like I really want to get involved. It's like, oh, what's up? I'm the guy to talk to.
Exactly.
And then, but also you can find us out online, Mattersvillevets.org. And just right there, you just scroll down, like volunteer, fill out the application, and it goes straight to my inbox.
Okay.
I review it, and then I give that individual a call and say, okay, what are your skills? What's this? How can I help you? Are you in need of something a little bit more serious? Let's say a mental health side of things. Like then I point that person in the right direction, or any of these individuals in the right direction, and get them all set up and taken care of.
So if someone wants to volunteer, they just reach out to you at Mattersville, or they'll reach out to Mattersville, and they'll be in contact with you specifically?
Yeah, so if you want to add on TikTok,
okay,
just Dylan at Mattersvillevets.org. It's my email. On anything you can get a hold of me, essentially.
Okay, and is it that your username?
Yeah, it's Dylan at Mattersvillevets.org.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
So if someone's watching this right now and you want to go check out this amazing place, and I guess just go check it out too if you want. But if you also want to volunteer, Dylan's the guy to talk to. Yeah, man. So do you help out around? I assume you volunteer as well.
Oh yeah. I'm not swimming in volunteer applications yet.
Okay.
But so I have my set day for wolf dog, taking care of the wolf. My wolf day is what I call it. And then anything else like moving out the trash, any general stuff that needs to get done. Building wolf pens. Never in a million years would I think I'd be building wolf pens.
Okay.
Here I am. And that's another one of those things, the skills that Drew was touching up on with teaching new skills and getting people out there to use these skills.
Yeah.
The veterans specifically. Yeah.
What did you learn when you're building a wolf pen? What kind of technical skills are you learning?
So just basic, simple contracting, fencing,
okay,
obviously, small security, like little things like lean-ins, just so they don't get up and over. Dig guard, I would have never thought of that. Just
a what?
Dig guards, like wire on the ground so they don't go
Oh,
up
dig
and
guard. Okay,
Yeah.
Nice. It sounds like one word when you say it fast. Dig guard.
Dig guard, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just like little things like that, different like uses of different tools, like an auger. I've never used an auger before. Like
A what?
And like an auger.
There's a towel right back there.
I guess Randog wanted some coffee too.
Oh yeah. All right, so go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, just like different power tools, and yeah, just building skills.
Okay.
And, I'm not really a big people person.
Okay.
But I'm developing people skills with my volunteer coordinating.
Wow. Okay.
So it's like, oh, cool. I'm
For sure.
Yeah.
It definitely is a skill, and definitely something I think anyone can, even the most introverted person can develop. And yeah, so that's cool. So when you're handling, what does handling and taking care of the wolves look like?
Oh.
Or the wolf dogs, right?
Yeah. It's really easy. Just you walk in, just kind of like introduce yourself to the wolf, like, hey, what's going on? You just walk right in, and then you have a bucket, for their feces, and then you have their fresh water bucket. Quick swap of the water bucket. Half the time they're so entertained with like this crap bucket that they're just gonna sniff it for the most of the part, most of the time. But
and they roam around the 7 acres, or how many acres?
So we have, I think, 7 acres.
Okay.
But no, they're not free roaming.
Okay.
We have enclosures for each one. And we have like a really large one for our alphas, which are, have a higher content. And yeah, so you just walk into their enclosure and swap out water, pick up everything you need to, and then, just hang out with the wolves, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Spend 10, 15 minutes just petting a wolf.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Randog over here is amazing. So I could assume that some of the other dogs are amazing too.
Oh yeah.
Well, sweet, man. It's great having you tell about what you do. We'll bring Drew back on, and then we'll start wrapping up the show.
Awesome, man.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Randog.
Sorry about the coffee.
Oh no, it's all good, man. You lost your coffee, so that's the last.
I know, it was delicious too. Yeah.
So we'll start actually wrapping this up. Is there anything specific you'd like to promote or let people know?
Yeah, that I think it's important that everybody starts to really, really look at mental health in a different light. You know, anytime I get a chance to talk about everybody's involvement in mental health, you know, it's important to take that opportunity and say, look, everybody has mental health. You know, sitting there talking about mental health as mental health automatically means disorder is an absolutely crazy thing. For instance, PTSD, the very D in the PTSD being disorder, that letter shouldn't even be involved.
Okay.
Post-traumatic stress is your body and your mind's natural response to undergoing trauma. It's not a disorder. Something's not wrong with you. Something happened to you. And it's important for people to know that other people have those happenings as well, and that, you know, as a community, instead of automatically assuming somebody's crazy because they're having a mental health crisis, you know, think about how you can help them and how you would be looking for some kind of support to kind of bring you back down if you were the one in that crisis, or your loved one, like your family, somebody that you care about is going through something. You know, take the opportunity to speak with them, you know, again, see if you can get them to, you know, back to a ground level so that they aren't making, you know, the crisis worse. Because once anxiety and once depression and once fear starts to take hold of that person, a crisis can become much more worse. It could become a tragedy. A lot like what I went through, and, you know, our family and friends went through, and, you know, Marcus with Paul Wedgwood, you know, again, somebody that you know, again, we do a lot of what we do today to still honor those people because of, you know, what an impact they had on our lives. So, you know, don't be, you know, I guess, don't wait to make that impact. Get out there and start doing it and start changing right away. You know, everybody should start changing their mind frame about mental health right away. And again,
How do they do that?
Positive coping skills. You know, it's like you start finding those positive coping skills for yourself so that you're in a mental state that you can support other people. You know, it's self-care. It literally is self-love and self-care. It's like, do something great for yourself every day if you can. Clean out your car so that, you know, and really give it a good wash down so that, you know that great feeling the next day.
It feels good,
like,
yeah.
You get in there, you're like,
You're building momentum when you do that,
dude,
too.
and you feel good too. You would put the arm out the window, you know, and sit there and ride out. Like, but, you know, to do those self-care activities, those positive coping skills, that's what self-care is. It's not just saying like, oh, giving myself a big hug.
Yeah. Have you ever done that before though? You just did it.
They feel all right.
They do.
I got the wolf dogs for that. But you know, again, the real true self-care starts with you. If you're gonna sit there, you know, if people are gonna start trying to take care of others or to give anybody advice, right? Like if you're gonna, before you go out and give advice, you know, get your own home in order, right? So, you know, not to say that you shouldn't try and help people if you're going through your own thing. Sometimes you might be that, you know, that life-saving, you know, crutch. But
a lot of times you got to take care of yourself first.
Yeah, you do, and that's where mental health starts is in your own home, and you know, teaching and spreading love and trying to bring people into a better place in this world. You know, there's a lot of people struggling right now, a lot of people feeling alone right now and detached with the, you know, COVID and everything else, with the trauma that they were already carrying.
Yeah.
So now more than ever, you know, just take the extra minute to take a breath, think about how, you know, how you're going to respond to somebody that may be going through a mental health crisis. And if you're the one that's going through the mental health crisis, you know, reach out to somebody, reach out to Mattersville, reach out to me directly. I don't care. You know, I'd love to be there to help, you know, anytime somebody needs it. And the worst stigma of all is people thinking that they have nobody to turn to, when there are organizations out there, there are people that are willing to try. If you're feeling down and you feel, you know, and you're feeling depressed or suicidal even, pick up the phone and call somebody.
Yes.
If they don't answer, pick up the phone and call somebody else. If you go through your home phone list and nobody answered, pick up the phone and call everybody again until somebody answers and you tell them that you need support. That, or call 911, crisis services. Like, there are places out there, you know, because again, sometimes we don't always have somebody that we feel like we can turn to somebody new. You'd be surprised. Sometimes they're perfectly amazing, you know, strangers out there that will be willing to step up for somebody. And, you know, maybe
I think it's in our nature to want to help.
Yeah.
Help others.
Yeah.
And if you if you are going through something, you can find help anywhere. I
Absolutely.
think.
Absolutely.
That there's people.
Yeah, there's people and there's dogs.
Yeah.
There's wolves.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Come pet a wolf, damn it.
Sure.
I would much rather you come in and look our apex predators in the eyes and get your thrill.
That'll
off of
really,
that,
yeah.
And not only that, these animals, a lot of them before rescued, they went through trauma too. So these are animals with empathy. They're apex predators with empathy. It's something like you'll never experience. So
that's interesting.
So again, we just want to make sure everybody's taking care of themselves, and again, keep spreading the love, because that's what everybody needs right now.
All right, sweet, man. Well, we'll wrap this up. This has been the COS Business Podcast. Today here with Drew Robertson with Mattersville. Reach out to Mattersville. Check them out. Where can people find you?
MattersvilleVets.org is our website. You could sign up to volunteer there. Pack 22 Alpha on TikTok. That is where we put out our most video content.
Okay.
Lots of stuff of all the wolves, real cute videos, and a lot of stuff about mental health and veteran stuff to keep spreading that awareness.
All right, sweet. Well, we'll see you guys on the next episode, and bye-bye.
See you.
All right. Yeah, man. It's a good episode for sure.
Yeah, that was fun. Go outside.
All excited.
Dude, I felt so bad about the coffee. I was like, of course.
No, it's okay.